Hello, JUSTJEM here and welcome, or indeed welcome back to my channel. It's really hot and the last thing I want to do is put makeup on my face, to be perfectly honest. Or my intention was I'd film a Scratch That Itch linked to a palette that I'm going to talk about within this video, and there's a good chance I will still do that, but it's too hot to put makeup on my face today. But I have the time and I have the capacity to film, so I'm going to film. And it doesn't really matter what I look like for new makeup because I'm going to have lots of pictures of pretty makeup beside me instead. I would love to open my window, but due to the weather, there are lots of people enjoying the sunshine outside and I can't guarantee that they're going to be quiet. Far from it, I imagine. So I might just have to suffer the heat. New makeup, and it's been a while since the last one, and it never rains, it pours. I feel like when I did the last one, it was a reasonable amount. Not too much, not too little, and maybe because it's been a long time, that's why it feels like there have been a lot of drops. I was meant to film this ages ago. A lot has accumulated. And one of the things I'm going to talk about at this point is probably not new anymore, but I'm going to talk about it because I've also planned my Scratch That Itch look around that. I'm going to film this based on me doing a Scratch That Itch video, which means I'm going to have to film it. New makeup. Episode 25 I think I'm on now. Poppy and Fluff Cosmetics. I should probably get my phone that's got all the pictures of the makeup I'm about to talk about as well. And what's all that? Ignore the mess, it's always mess. Poppy and Fluff, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because, as I say, at this point, this is not that new. I think this has been out for a month. Poppy and Fluff Cosmetics, £34. Flutters, it's called. And I believe it was the owner's daughter who created the colour story and had the idea for this. And it's quite nice. I like a purple. It's got a yellow in there. I'm always on the hunt for a good yellow. I'd be interested to know how that yellow performs. Poppy and Fluff haven't yet released a palette that's made me go, ooh, yes, I want that. And this is no different, to be honest. It's nice enough, but it's not jumping out at me as something that I would want to run out and get. There are lots of 15% discount code knocking about. I think Erica's got one, and it's either going to be Erica or Erica 15. So I'll confirm that and I'll put it on the screen. And most people, as it's a month ago, so if you're interested in this palette, it's highly likely you've got it already. So me giving you a code is probably not going to make a blind bit of difference. But for future reference, I'll put a code anyway. Clarity Cosmetics have done quite a nice little warm neutral 9-pan palette. And this just caught my eye because it was just rich and chocolatey, and well, I mean, it's called Chocolate Seduction. Chocolate. CHOKOLATE. Is that right? Yeah. A very appropriate colour story given the name of the palette, and I love the richness and I love the depth, and I'm sort of really into neutral tones at the moment, so this did jump out at me. It's $32. It wouldn't be something I would get because I don't even want to consider how much the shipping from Clarity Cosmetics direct would be. It might be something that's on Monolith, I'm not sure. Same as with Poppy and Fluff though, Clarity Cosmetics is one of those brands that I see and they release nice palettes and nice colour stories, but again, nothing that's really made me go for it. Close. They had like a flurry where they released like 2 or 3 palettes, I believe, in quite quick succession, and there were 1 or 2 of those that were really, really nice. But again, nothing that really made me want to go for it. Nice, but no. Glamlight have released a full-on Barbie collection, and the main reason I'm talking about this is because my Scratch That Itch look is going to be based on that palette. Anyone want to hazard a guess at what palette I've used? Is it in the background? It is in the background. I don't know if you can, it's kind of over there. I am going to do a look scratching the Barbie itch, and I'm going to do an honourable mention for another palette that I think would sufficiently scratch the itch, depending on whether if you just want a Barbie look, not necessarily specifically this Barbie colour story, but like a Barbie colour story in general. I think the palette's nice. It does scream Barbie. It does have that look to it. I mean, it's got like those pinks. I wonder if their original palette was Barbie but with more variety in there. I think you'd probably be a little bit restricted with this, just varying looks of pink, which is fine. I'm perhaps not the biggest pink fan, but then every now and again I do a pink look and I'm like, oh, actually, The palette is quite nice. Probably if I were to get anything in the collection, it would be the palette. There are lip kits in here that I'm not overly sold on. They just seem a bit... they're not to my taste, that's what I would say. And I'm also not sold on the complexion palettes in here. The powders for like the under eye, to me they're too light. That's not my... like, I like a bright under eye. I think a lot of people do quite like to brighten their under eye, but it's too much to the point where I think some of the models are starting to just look ashy. So yeah, I'm not sold on those face palettes that are included in this collection. They're not doing it for me. Price wise, I mean, it's Glamlight. It's always going to be pretty reasonably priced. The palette is $28. The lip kits are $24. The complexion kits are also $24. And then you can get the full collection for $143, and there's a PR box with full collection that's $149. It's quite a nice collection. I can see the Barbie inspiration there, but I don't know how flattering a lot of that would be on a deeper skin tone. And even on the deeper model, I'm not sold. Even on, I think the owner's called Giselle. Why has her name just gone out of my head? But I'm not convinced even the product on her that it looks good. No shade, just an opinion. Glaminatrix Cosmetics. So at the time I started collecting all this information, Silent But Deadly had just started shipping, and that's £49. From what I can see, Glaminatrix are also going to be re-releasing a few of their older palettes, Into the Night and Sandra Rose. For some reason I've put Sugar and Spice here in brackets. I wonder if I'm trying to say you might not need Silent But Deadly because it resembles Sugar and Spice. Or maybe I meant Sugar and Spite. God, I can't read my own handwriting. Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say, that you could get close with the Sugar and Spite palette from Blend Bunny. And I did consider doing a Scratch That Itch using Sugar and Spite to do a Silent But Deadly inspired look. Do I think somebody else did this? Gosh, I've got a memory like a sieve at the moment. I blame the heat. Makeup by... I'll put the handle of the creator, who I'm fairly sure has used Sugar and Spite as a bit of a Scratch That Itch to Glaminatrix. I think that's another reason why I decided not to do that myself, just because somebody else had done that already. Pipped me to the post, which is going to happen when you're a month late getting to these things. Oops. I couldn't find pricing for Into the Night and Sandra Rose, but I think Into the Night is coming at the end of this month. I don't think Sandra Rose has been confirmed yet, unless they're both going to come at the same time. I'm not sure. What I've noticed though, and I'm wondering if that's kind of partly the reason why Into the Night and Sandra Rose are coming back, they're all in that kind of similar vein. Like, they've got a similarness to them, so it's almost as if it's maybe easy to produce those palettes at the same time. Not that they're like exactly the same, but there's a similarity across the board, I would say. I mean, I'm putting the pictures up, which hopefully should demonstrate what I mean, but I do feel like there's something that links these palettes together. Like, I don't think you would necessarily need all three of them. I mean, if you wanted all three, by all means get all three. But if you're trying to not collect too much, you might pick one or two, but probably not all three. NYX have released these limited edition, well I think they're limited edition, surprise smushy soft matte lip balms. And it's one of those like gotta catch 'em all. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so you've got 6 confirmed shade, and then there's a mystery shade, and it's one of those you're supposed to sort of buy them until you've collected them all, which, I don't know, does that promote wastage? Because you're going to end up with dupes, definitely, and unless you've got friends who are collecting them that you can sort of switch to maybe get the full set, it just seems like it's a bit gimmicky, really, isn't it? I mean, $10 a pop is not horrendous, but and the colours don't seem to vary all that much. The red one and the orange one look nice, but then I don't know that the other ones have got enough pigment to make them worthwhile. Maybe if you're a bit of a fairer skin tone, it makes enough of a difference. I wouldn't be interested even out of curiosity. Don't know how I feel about them encouraging you to keep buying them until you've collected the set, including the mystery shade. Pastel Roses. This to me is an odd one. It looks like it's a late Valentine's Day release. Like someone dropped the ball somewhere at Pastel Roses HQ and like, balls, we were supposed to drop that in February. It's May now, but should we go ahead and drop it anyway? And someone just gone, yeah, might as well, we've done the work. It's nice enough, it's not groundbreaking. And there's, I think, 3 mini singles that come in the collection as well. The palette is £30.99 and the little minis are $3.99 each. And I think you can get the bundle for $42.99. I've got the pumpkin, the mini sort of pumpkin palette. I do actually quite like that. There is something about it I quite like. Not sold on the death, but I can't knock the quality. And again, Pastel Roses is one of those brands like I do keep an eye out for them, especially because they're a UK based indie brand, so I kind of feel like I want to show support for UK based indie brands being someone UK based. And it's also a lot more affordable for me to spend my money on UK based indie brands because shipping isn't extortionate. But there hasn't been anything really that has jumped out at me, and this is no exception. There's not a lot jumping out at me at the moment, and I don't know if it's one of those things where there's getting so much that's getting rammed down your throat. It's so hard to kind of see a launch, let it sink in, decide if you like it before the next one sort of pops up. So maybe that's why I'm a little bit like meh to everything that comes out, because there's just too much choice. I've seen swatches, it looks pretty enough, but no, that's not something I would get. Trixie Cosmetics, the Trixie Air collection. This looks fun. This does look fun. Is it earth-shattering? No. But Trixie Cosmetics is another one of those brands that I just kind of feel, I don't know, I like Trixie from Drag Race. And it's not overly expensive in the grand scheme of things. To get it to me, yeah, but it always is when it's an American indie brand. Well, quite often it is when it's an American indie brand. You can get the full collection for $50, so that's saving you $16. There's a gloss which is $16, a blush which is $14, and the palette which is $36. So if you basically buy the collection, you're getting the gloss for free. I'm very tempted. I haven't asked my friend this yet, but he probably would oblige. I've got a friend in the States. I'm considering maybe picking this collection up and getting it sent to him, because I know I'm going to see him soon. I'll have a think about that. I think something I'll probably get eventually, so even if I don't necessarily get my friend to get it for me, maybe next time I go to the States. Mind you, I've got no desire to go to the States anytime too when that Oompa Loompa's in charge. But I digress. I'll see. But I thought that was a nice little collection. Natasha Denona is releasing I Need a Tan. Is anyone else a bit bored? They've had I Need a Warm, I Need a Nude, I think I Need a Cool is coming, I Need a Rainbow, I Need a Gin and Tonic. Maybe if it was any other brand releasing a neutral palette, I'd be more drawn to it, but it's not really earth-shattering for Natasha Denona to release a neutral palette. And there's a time and a place for a neutral palette, and I'm loving my neutrals at the moment, but I'm not looking at this and thinking, oof, yes, this is a Natasha Denona palette that I really want to grab hold of. Having said that, that bigger one, they released the light and the darker version. I can't remember exactly what it's called. That I was intrigued by, but in the end I decided not to get it because I got Bella Beauté Bar's Unoriginal Nudes instead. And really, even though I'm sort of loving neutrals at the moment, that's probably enough to keep me going. And I think if I was going to get a neutral palette, it would have to be a bit of a spicier neutral. Blend Bunny are revamping blends, so it's all the original shades. I think they've had to tweak formulas a little bit here and there, but any differences are going to be negligible. But they've added in some shimmers, and it's going to be in the Jordan Liberty packaging. I'm almost tempted to pick this up and maybe declutter my Be Perfect palettes. I think my Be Perfect palettes are alright, but when I think about the formula and the performance, like, just Blend Bunny's better. I don't know, maybe what I'll do is I'll dig out my Be Perfect palettes and have a bit of a play around with them and then kind of decide. But I don't think I could justify having like the two Be Perfect palettes that I do have plus the revamped blends palette. I just don't know if the revamped blends would have enough shimmers for my personal preference. I probably would prefer a better ratio, but it does look quite good. Not necessarily travel friendly because it's quite a sizable palette, but it's quite a nice staple to have. Like, I never got the original blends, but this one could be quite nice to have. Do I need it? Absolutely not, but I don't know, it just looks good and I kind of want it a little bit. That's going to be $54, and then there's a new launch. So as I'm filming this, they're teasing it, so probably by the time I come to edit it, I'll be able to put a picture of the full reveal, and maybe I'll just put some text on the screen, or I'll just insert me talking about what I think about this new release. But the packaging, I've got to give it to it. The packaging looks good. I love the cover art. I love it. And from the bits and pieces they've been teasing, the colour story does look fun. And so I don't know if it's one of those things where I'd pick up both at the same time, which Maggie's kind of said that she's mentioned the revamp of blends, but it's not going to launch until this new release launches. I don't know how is it psilocybin? But I'm not 100% sure how you pronounce that. I'm going to go with psilocybin. But it looks fun. Let's wait for the full reveal. I could be swayed by this. I could be. Adept Cosmetics Muted Dahlia. Now this caused some controversy. So it's $39. When I saw this revealed, I thought, okay, fair enough, yeah. Waiting to see the rest of this drop, because this is clearly for super fair skin. It's got super fair skin in mind, which is fine. But my assumption was that was maybe one of 3 or 4 launches. But then it kind of became apparent that it wasn't. And then there was uproar because people said, yes, perfectly understand that people with paler skin tones are crying out for something like this. And I think I can see those being really pretty on someone with a fair complexion, especially like a super fair complexion. And I think a few people who have got an olive skin tone have commented that, you know, based on colour theory and whatnot, it would look really good on them. But it was kind of disappointing that there was only a palette for super fair skin tones and nothing else. It just seemed really odd. So everyone was commenting about this, and then you had people basically telling anyone with a medium to deep skin tone to do one, because clearly it does work on a deeper skin tone and not everything has to be for everyone. And I fully appreciate that. Not everything does have to be for everyone. But it did seem really odd to only release a palette for a very, very small demographic. And it's since come out that, I want to say, is it Susan? Why can't I remember anyone's name? Sandra. I want to say it's Sandra. The owner of Adept has come out and said, do you know what? Hold my hands up. Yes, there were meant to be 2 others, but to cryptic reasons, they were only able to launch this one. Say that. I have never associated Adept Cosmetics as a brand that lacks inclusivity. I've never looked at an Adept palette and thought to myself, that's never going to work for me. And if I think about the blush palette I do have from them, which I haven't even touched yet, shame on me, that's pretty universal. That can be used for a much wider range of people. It was only one palette, but it covers a much, much wider demographic. And the thing is, and this, I know this might sound woe is me and whatever, when it comes to something like a blush, if you are a lighter skin tone, more often than not, just going in with a light hand, it's going to work on you. When you start to include more of a white base, and it then becomes something that's harder for someone with a deeper skin tone to use. So it's like when I think of the NYX Buttermelt blushes, for example, they are super pigmented. Super pigmented. And even I've got to be careful with those. If you have a fair skin, you just need to get a super fluffy brush, lightest of dips, sweep across your cheek, and you can tone it down. So even when something looks intimidating, someone with a fairer skin tone can get away with using it. It doesn't work the other way around though. If something is only suited to a much lighter skin tone, especially because it's got more of a white base, I can pack that on and I'm going to look fucking ridiculous. It's not going to work. And even when you look at the deeper models demoing Muted Dahlia, I'm sorry, but it looks awful. And all those people in the comments trying to tell people who have been black or brown their entire life what does and doesn't suit them can do one. Okay? And I think a lot of the comments and a lot of the outrage could have been saved if Sandra from the off had just gone, do you know what guys, I'm dropping this palette because I've worked really hard on it. There were meant to be 2 others to go in this little collection. Due to funds or production or whatever it might be, those aren't dropping now. Will they drop later? I hope so. That's all that had to be said, and we could have been like, totally appreciate that. Because shit happens. You know, things do happen. When you think about pre-orders and delays and things that are out of your control, things do happen. Just be upfront about it. I think if she had just led with that, everyone would have just been like, fair play, fair play. But instead it caused like an unnecessary shitstorm. Could have been entirely avoided. And then other things started popping up about Adept's customer service. Even when there was like a glitch on the website, I think, where they had a few sales and things going on and it wouldn't allow you to just buy one palette. So people were reaching out saying, hi, trying to make a purchase, it's not working, and Adept were either being sort of dismissive or just not really very helpful, which I think is a shame because Adept palettes, they're not the cheapest on the market, they're not the most expensive either, but if you're I mean, just because something is cheap doesn't mean you should also get cheap customer service. That's not what the point I'm making. But especially when you're parting with a good chunk of your money, you expect the customer service to be of a certain level. But yeah, just disappointing, because I like Adept to the point where, in fact, I'm sitting here because one of the videos I'm thinking of filming is just because I keep rabbiting on about how I'm not buying anything anymore. And I did buy some Adepts. They had like a free shipping deal. So I got EBEs, which I've been eyeing up for a while, and then I got Emo, which I considered and then just like wrote off completely. But in person, it's really nice. I bought those before because, as I say, they had a free shipping in Europe promo, and I almost ordered to my brother, and I'm glad I didn't, because a week later they had free shipping to the UK, and I jumped on that. And then after that they then had a mini sale as well, and I think they've also got a sale running at the moment now for Memorial Day, so they're full of sales. It was disappointing, and it was just something that could have been completely avoided had Adept just been upfront about the situation. We don't necessarily need details, just even due to some production issues or whatever it might be, can't drop the other two, hopefully down the line, but this is what we do have, and we're dropping it because it's cost effective to do so, because you're a small business owner, and I'm aware it's difficult. Question Beauty, Chapter 4, Garden of Iridescent Wings, and it's £53. This one looks good. I've been watching this. I don't think you can get chapters 1 and 2 anymore. Chapter 3 I think you can still get. But to me, this one seems to have picked out the best elements of the previous 3 and put it into one. This one could be tempting. There's definitely something about it. It's almost as if it's, I don't know if it's the shifty shades in here, but there's definitely something very, very appealing. It's rich, and it's, yeah, this is a colour story I could get behind. This one I could do. There was always something in the previous 3 that wasn't quite hitting the mark for me. And I think 3 probably came the closest, but it was a bit too much like I can never say, why can't I never, Lure from Blend Bunny, and even Beauty Below, it had a bit too much of that in it. Whereas this one, this could be a serious contender. I think I'd wait for reviews on this one, but out of all 4 of them, chapters 1 through to 4, this one appeals to me the most. And this could be a maybe. This I could be tempted by. Plus, I think one of the things that put me off the first one is a few people were dubious about the formula. Now, I don't know if they've made improvements on the formula since chapter 1. I would hope that they would have done based on feedback. And if based on reviews they have, I might get this. Glisten have released Bliss 2.0. So the original Bliss was kind of a colourful palette. And they teased, when they were doing the teasers, obviously they do like the grayscale where they hide all the colours. And then when it was revealed to be a colourful palette, a few people were like, oh, I thought it was actually going to be like a grayscale palette. And that's what Bliss 2.0 is. I don't think I'll get it for the packaging alone. I have since discovered that it is magnetic, but I guess, you know, I could get Bliss 1 and 2.0 and put them in a magnetic palette instead, but I don't think I like either enough for me to do that. Something that also tickled me is the Bella Beauté Bar Freya collab is also now available at Glisten Cosmetics, and it's almost like the battle of the palettes, because I mean maybe it's going to do with, you know, what your budget can stretch to and what you're looking for, because Bliss 2.0 has got fewer shades. I think it's 9 shades. But again, if you've got Smoky from Beauty Bay, would you really need this? You know, maybe I'll link my Scratch That Itch that I did last time using Smoky, the £42 version, to scratch that Bella Beauté bar X Freya itch, and that would do it for this as well. It's 35 and the original was 45. I don't know that I'd want to spend £35 on that when I can get the Smoky £42 for a tenner. And yes, I know the formula's going to be different and the Smoky palette's not going to have any special shades and all of that jazz, but it's enough. Cheery Up have got like a Child's Play collection. I don't know, maybe Child's Play's not the right word. Children's Day. So it's a Children's Day collection and there are 2 palettes. A super colourful one and then like this grayscale, it's a bit warmer, grayscale but with a bit of warmth to it. And after just banging on about how much I don't need something like this because I've got Smoky, this does have something a little bit different to it. I kind of almost want someone to swatch this next to Smoky, but I think Smoky, all the tones in there are much cooler and this has a little bit of warmth to it. And for some reason I'm drawn to it, more so than the colourful one. Back in the day I would have been all over that colourful one. But there is some, I don't know, the colourful one's not bad. But I'm not sold on that glitter shade with all the stars in it. I just feel like that would be lost on me and I'd never use it. Let's see if this comes to Glisten. And I think it's another one I'd wait for reviews before deciding if I got it. But it's not top of the list. Like, I think depending on the Blend Bunny reveal, I think that one is top for me. And then I am considering revamped blends. Oh yeah, Question Beauty. Depending on... Yeah, so there's a few things in here that are solid maybes. I'm not sure on the price point yet, but now it's on Glisten. I'm going to see if it drops, and it'll probably be around the £32 mark, and there are always discount codes knocking about. I've got a discount code. It's JUST_JEM1. Look at me remembering I've got a code. Wow. I think when I first saw it being teased, I wasn't convinced, but the more I've seen it, the more I get both of them. But yeah, the deeper one. I think if I was to get anything from the brand, it would be Starcore. I'm still eyeing Starcore at the moment. Marc Jacobs is relaunching, and there's a whole... It's like the packaging is like Polly Pocket for adults, and it's a very divisive, this packaging, very divisive, with some people thinking it's exceptionally childish and other people loving it. I think it's kind of cute. I'd be very interested to see how well this sells, and they're dropping a lot more in one go than I thought that they would. That there's a lot there. There are bronzers, there are lippies, there are single shadows, there are blushes, like cream blushes, there are eye pencils, mascara, there's a highlighter, there's a lot. The Legally Bronze Talc-Free Blurring Powder Bronzer, 8 shades, $42 each. Heart On Long Lasting Soft Shine Lipstick, 15 shades, $34 each. Born Star Cream to Powder Long Wear Eyeshadow, 14 shades, $29 each. It's a bit steep for a single shadow, but I guess it's because of the packaging. Joystick Buildable Cream Blush Stick in 10 shades, $35 each. Drawn This Way Long Wear Waterproof Gel Eyeliner, 21 shades, $26 each. Flashes Volumizing and Lengthening Panoramic Mascara, 3 shades, $29 each. Money Shot Multi-Use Illuminating Gel Highlighter, $29. I think price point wise that probably aligns with Marc Jacobs. I think by the time I got properly into Marc Jacobs, I think Marc Jacobs ceased to exist. yeah, so I never bought anything from Marc Jacobs. Would I buy anything from this collection? Kind of tempted by the bronzer, actually. Mate, I've got to say, it's probably because of the packaging. That's bad, isn't it? But that packaging's cute. I don't need a bronzer, though. Let's see what all of this is in pounds. I mean, there's a good chance that it's gonna be all those dollar amounts I've just said, but in pounds. And I don't know that I'd want to get any of the eyeliners because I've got loads of Colourpop ones and they do me just fine. I don't think I'd want to spend that much on a mascara when drugstore ones work just fine for me. I don't think I'd want to spend anything on the single shadows either, because I think that's a lot for a single shadow. I do kind of like the look of this Marc Jacobs collection, but if I'm being realistic, I don't think I'd spend any of my money on anything. Like I can't buy one of the bronzers just for the packaging, even if it is exceptionally cute. But it looks like it's a decent range as well. I like it though, I do like it, and I know, as I say, I know it's divisive, but I like the collection. Enough to buy any of it? No, but I find it aesthetically pleasing, so much so that just for that I would consider something, but realistically no. Monolith have launched, or are launching, their own brand, Epic Beauty, and their first drop has been revealed now, and it's going to be part of their next launch. Like, they do these monthly launches, and it's gonna be available then. It's kind of pricey, guys. It's a pricey palette. It's €69.90, which is about £60, which is bold for a first drop. I mean, is it too? It's not too dissimilar from, say, like your Bella Beauty bar pricing, because those are quite pricey palettes. And I think formula-wise, looking at the composition, their justification in the price point is the number of special shades in there. And they do look fairly special. They do. Earlier on today, I posted on my stories, because I'm seeing a lot of swatches, but none from deeper creators. Yet. So I posted on my stories just saying if anyone does see any swatches from any deeper creators to let me know, because just because I haven't seen them yet doesn't mean they don't exist. So I don't want to jump up and down and throw a tantrum that there are no swatches on a deeper skin tone if it's just because I've not come across them. Then I was speaking to Chloe, also known as Gradients and Glitters on Instagram, and she saw my story and she was messaging me, and I basically said, it's kind of disappointing really. You've got a whole brown person on the packaging of your palette. How are you launching with like a full-on sea of swatches on much lighter skin tones and nothing on a deeper skin tone? Didn't kind of sit right with me, so maybe I'm just not seeing it. Chloe and I had this back and forth, and then I was still kind of searching, and then I was finishing off my notes to come and basically film this. And then she messaged me and she said, I've messaged them because I was curious too, and they've said they are waiting to get swatches, I think, from maybe 3 more medium toned creators and 2 who are deeper, who have a deeper skin tone. And then she also kind of said to them, get in touch with JUSTJEM, she could do swatches for you. And they did. And they were like, hey, yeah, we can send you the palette if you want it. You can do some swatches and do some looks. And I was like, okay. So yeah, so that's on its way to me. So I can do some swatches. I don't know when I'll get it. It's coming by DHL Express. Fingers crossed I can do some swatches and do a few looks either just before or just after launch. That could hopefully be useful. But it does look good, and Clara, who does awesome swatches, she has written that she thinks that the quality is up there and it's pretty impressive, and I value her opinion. I've said as much to her. Let's see. I'm not gonna, I was surprised by the colour story though. it seems like a expanded version of Crown Legacy. And I did wonder, as we were seeing snippets to it, and I was seeing sort of more shades in there getting revealed, I did think to myself, interesting choice considering that they did that collab with Glaminatrix and it had those tones in it. And I did do a scratch that itch where I basically combined, I did my own palette, and maybe I can dig that out and I can compare the palette that I created, which I thought was a good catch-all for Coalescence and Crown Legacy. And then this palette also seems to cover all the bases of Crown Legacy and Coalescence. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I thought, or maybe they're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, that colour story worked well for us, so let's do it again but enhance it. I don't know. Let's see what they do next after this. Nomad guessing game has started. I feel like, didn't they only just drop the Greek Odyssey collection? Nomad Cosmetics, they seem to like parting people with their money. Like, I love Nomad, but I do feel like they could just take their foot off the gas a little bit. I don't know, it's one of those things, maybe when you count it up at the end of the year, it never seems to be as many releases as you thought. But I don't know, so this is, it's basically going to be a June launch, isn't it? Yeah, because this is the last week of May. So we've had La Boheme, we've had the Coastal collection, we've had the Greek Odyssey collection, and now we've got this one, which looks like, I think this is going to be colourful, I think it's going to be punchy and bright and colourful. I'm creating my Nomad wishlist. I can't buy everything, and it's one of those now, I think I'm just going to see the drops throughout the year and then make up my mind come Black Friday if there's anything that I want to get. I did almost get the Coastal collection when they had their Earth Day sale, which was 25% off, but the All Shimmer palette was out of stock. Oh, my brother's calling me. One moment, please. I think I'd finished talking about Nomad. I think that was the general gist. I was basically saying that they're just, your wallet is not safe because Nomad just likes to release stuff. There we have it. I've been a bit all over the place. I'm in a very funny mood, I'm not going to lie. I'm too hot at this point. I'm probably a little bit hungry as well as thirsty. Winning combination, tired, hot, thirsty, hungry. But that's quite a bumper issue, and I feel like I've whizzed through that. And have I got any 100%? I think I'm going to get that Blend Bunny palette. I think so. They haven't, the palettes like Haunt Me, no. That Diablo, no. Was there another one in between? Yeah, none of the recent releases from Blend Bunny have done it, but that one ticks some boxes. So that's. I might do that one. What are you getting? Have you found, like, as I say, I don't know if it's just because it's been a while since I did the last one, but I just felt like there was a lot, and there's more I could have mentioned. There are things I had glossed over, otherwise I would have been here all night. But I do feel as though there have been a lot of drops, and maybe that's because it's late spring and we're now going into summer, so they're trying to entice people to spend a bit more and get into that summery feeling. I don't know. Let me know if you're picking anything up, and if there's anything that I failed to miss, because there was a lot I didn't cover. Let me know if there's anything that I haven't mentioned that you have spotted that you're definitely picking up. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I also hope to see you again in a video in the not too distant future. Take care. Bye!